Hello, um, my name is Shakilin. Today I'm going to talk about my Understanding Diversity project. I am in EDU 302, and this is spring 2025 semester. Who am I? I am Black, African American. I identify as female, she, her. I am middle class. I am originally from Iowa. I moved from Iowa when I was 5 to Florida. From Florida, I moved to Georgia in 2012, and this is where I've been since. Um, I speak English as well as my religion is Christianity. I grew up in a Baptist church my whole life, and that is what my religion is. My project is basically about supporting Mexican cultural diversity and basically how I want to incorporate that into my classroom setting. My plan is to become a um, either a K through 12 special education teacher or just a special education teacher in general. Um, I'm kind of like unsure exactly where I want to be as far as like teaching wise, but I know for a fact that I want to stay within like special education because right now I am currently a registered behavior technician where I work with small children that have autism, and I really enjoy working with special needs kids. So I know for a fact that's what I want to do in a classroom setting, K through 12. All right, so let's hop into my resourceful research. Um, my first resource here is Fluent U, and I actually enjoyed this research because it basically focused on like giving knowledge about basically like the Mexican culture. This website offered a lot of different like culture projects, and I feel like this is a great resource that can help essentially design like lessons, curriculum materials for like future students, um, and it supports the cultural diversity. Um, I enjoyed like looking over this website and gaining knowledge about the different ways to basically incorporate like the enhancement to support like the Spanish language. This resource offered a lot of like Spanish teaching activities, methods, and different like resources that can be used inside the classroom setting that I thought would be very beneficial in my future endeavors as a educator. And what I mean by that is just being able to like gain different not gain but basically like showing how different cultures have different like beliefs and backgrounds but how it can intertwine as like one and no way is like a bad way on how certain people view certain things. I love the fact that like this research provided like different Spanish interactive games, different music videos, and like real world topics. So basically, like new ways to help students, engage and be motivated. They had this one particular thing on the website that stood out for me was like the grammar vocabulary, and I loved how like they broke down like okay, you can understand it from this perspective and then you can understand it from this perspective as far as like the Mexican culture and how they view things. I just altogether I loved how like I was able to see like the different tools to explore like the diversity and how intersectionality played a role through culturally rich materials. Um, and also they had like activity templates like games and like cultural discussion starters too on this website. Okay, so the Mexican American Culture Education Foundation, this website was resourceful because it was basically it helped with like it dived into like cultural diversity and It was more so like authentic. So you were able to like you were able to basically see like different ways to teach students about like cultural rituals and then the intersection of like their like traditions as far as like Catholic ways and how they not Catholic ways, how they like worship from like the Catholic viewpoint. And also this website had like different events and like different workshops and festivals such as like the Mexican Independence celebration and then Mexican Week, where like you can essentially go and do like a lot of like hands-on learning. Also like ultimately like I enjoyed this website because how like interactive it was and how like engaging it was with like the Mexican culture. Um it also like gave a great viewpoint of intersectionality as well. Only because it offered like ideas about intersectionality, like I said, and particularly through like the historical, cultural and social dimensions of Mexican American identities. It also like promoted narratives that reflect like the diverse experiences within the Mexican American community as well. Okay, my last resource, which is the Mexican Cultural Center. And this was basically, of course, like a website that had like some valuable resources that allowed me as a future educator to promote accurate and empowering representation. It also was like very resourceful about shaping self-esteem and how like how students essentially see themselves and others. It also teaches through a culturally responsive perception, and it also shows how to identify culture, race, gender, immigration, and more. Um, and it also like gave like good supportive resources as far as like getting like students engaged with like short short little summaries about like their background and where they came from and things like that. Um, yeah, what I most importantly gained throughout my research is as someone pursuing a career in education for K through 12, I see myself not just as a future teacher, but as an advocate of equity. And as an educator means I carry responsibilities for creating inclusive environments that honor the identities of all students. I bring my own bias into the classroom shaped by my upbringing and experiences, and I am committed to continuously reflecting on and challenging those learning. Thank you for listening.